Welcome home, where we provide information, inspiration, and motivator after motivator after motivator here on America's Next. I have Kylita Orta with me today. Is that how I say it?
Yes, you said it right. Hello,
Okay,
hello,
okay.
Cedric.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing blessed. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. I see you got plants in the background. You like plants a lot?
I love plants. This is my palace. Welcome, welcome. At least you get a view, a little insight on who I am and what the inside of my well-being is looking like.
Right. I work at a barber shop, and due to the pandemic, there's been a lot less traffic in there. So we put a couple of plants in the window. As soon as we put a couple of plants in the window, people just started running into the barber shop. It was the funniest thing. Plants make a difference.
Yes, they do. I love being around living things. I probably have about 75 plants in my apartment in counting.
Really?
So yeah, nature is so important to me. So bring forth that energy.
When
When
did
you have living things that are growing, you're planting seeds. So that's good that worked for you.
wow? When did you start? When did you get into plants like that? Who taught you that?
Actually, when I was a kid, I got into gardening. Gardening is very therapeutic for me. I did all of my mom's landscaping. So, just being around nature is something that's very tangible and therapeutic for me. So, I love to be close to nature and bring nature in spaces that you normally wouldn't see, like the office or the barber shop. So,
Yeah,
that's my thing. I love it.
that's a great idea. Any favorite plants?
Well, if you're looking for like some good house plants, I would go with some snake plants. I would go with a peace lily, pythos. They're also really good vine plants. They can survive droughts, succulents. So those are some good little starter, some beginner plants to have that if you kill them, it's just like, ugh,
Yeah.
how can you do this?
Right, right,
They're
right,
really
right.
easy to take care of. So
Some good plants out there for beginners. All right, all right. Where you from?
where I'm from currently or where I'm from originally.
Good response. Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay. And how long did you live there?
I've been there throughout the duration of my life. Um, I recently moved to California about a year and 6 months ago, going on 2 years. So now I'm based in San Francisco. I'm currently in Oakland.
Okay.
So
The city of hills.
yes, loving the Bay.
What was it like for you growing up in Baltimore though? When I think Baltimore, I think The Wire. I think crabs, uh, countryside.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of people do. Growing up in Baltimore was quite interesting. Very, very interesting. Going to school, I didn't really have people that looked like me. So self identity was, interesting. Trying to figure out like who is self, who are you.
Mhm.
So I think representation is a really big thing, and I didn't have a lot of people in the spaces that I was in and existing in that looked like me. So it was very interesting to kind of like see how people treated you and what they perceived you to be. So I would say it was very, very interesting, but it definitely molded me into the woman that I am today.
Sure, sure. Can you talk to me about your early life? Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I have three brothers. I'm the only girl.
Okay, all right. And you lived at home with your parents in the beginning, obviously.
Yes, I did in the beginning. Yes.
What was that like for you? What was a day in the life like for Kylita as a young child?
Oh, wow. As a young child, I grew up really fast. I
Mm.
had three brothers that I was taking care of. Taking care of. My stepdad, he was overseas, so he really wasn't around a lot, just because he was working. And then my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom, but I took on more majority of the responsibility in the household, um, more than I feel like some should at a very young age. So it just taught me to be really responsible and just be ahead of the game it really, propelled my growth. And sometimes I wish I could go back and snatch back my childhood
Right.
and enjoy those childlike moments. So
Hmm. When you say that you grew up fast, was that based on conversations that you had with your parents? Was it just a natural thing that you did, or was it because your dad was overseas?
I think it was a combination of all of it.
Okay.
Just because me being the older sister, taking care of my younger brothers, but I would more so say the experience with all of those things that you mentioned. I would be getting my little brothers ready for school, and then getting myself ready for school, and then coming home, preparing them dinner. I wasn't able to play sports, team sports, or anything like that because I was playing the role of a bonus mom,
Mhm.
and being a part of that family dynamic. So
Mhm. If you could have your child back, if you could have your childhood back for a brief period of time, what would you do?
oh my gosh, I would do a lot. I probably would have went to the School of the Arts. I would be in every sport, in everything. I would be in clubs, photography clubs, which I wind up doing later on in life. But I just wish I could just explore more of my interests and what I was really interested in at the time.
Hmm. Hmm. So then, how did all that translate for you as a young kid in school, in your social life? Were you under a bunch of anxiety, or was it just like a normal life for you?
No, I felt like I was kind of depressed.
Mhm.
I didn't really I didn't know what depression was, first and
Mhm.
foremost. Like when you're a kid, you don't know what these feelings are. You have these emotions and these feelings, but you don't know that oh, that's actually you're depressed. So I would say like 13, I was pretty depressed. That's where my depression started because I just had too much on me. And I just felt like, this is too much.
Right, right. Any ideas of what we can do to help young kids relieve stress? What can we do to help them out?
Definitely talk to them. I think it's very important, just not even with young kids, but to meet people where they're at, and really treat them as a resource instead of just kind of like projecting your expectations or your feelings or your intentions on that person. So I think that, if someone was really able to gauge me and be like, hey, Kai, like, what do you like? What do you love? What don't you like? Why is school so stressful for you? So I
We
think that really would have helped my depression.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's a real thing. I certainly
Yeah,
experienced it. I certainly experienced it when I was a kid, and you've experienced it, and so that compels me to think that a lot of young people, I'm talking about young kids, are dealing with stress or depression well into your teenage years, and then I'm thinking, does that feeling of stress and depression does it ever leave?
I would say it comes and goes.
Mm.
For me, I know that's something that I dealt with 13, all even still today. I think we all have our highs and lows of whether it be low depression or a high rate of depression. So it's a growing process, and I think that we just have to be patient with ourselves and be present in that moment.
Mhm. And to be clear, there's a difference between the stress of being a kid in a big world, having to do homework, starting to learn chores, starting to learn responsibility. Those things incur a natural level of stress, which I don't think we'll ever get away from. But that's different from shared depression because like you say, you're totally taking care of other people as a child, or other circumstances that happen put too much pressure on kids. I think we got to take a look at that.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's definitely a taboo thing. People
Yep.
are not talking about it. I come from an Afro Latino background where a lot of issues are being swept under the rug, and so I think that if people are able to create a sense of exposure and attest to that we're able to prevent a lot of things in the near future.
Absolutely, absolutely. Speaking of taboos, why do we keep so many taboos? I mean, why do we maintain them? Why do we allow core issues that need to be addressed, unfolded, and understood to just remain taboos? What's up with that?
I think that people are scared to face the reality of things, and they lack accountability. And in order for change to actually happen, you have to be accountable for something or for your behavior or yourself. And so when there's a lack of accountability and there's a lack of communication, those things become taboo. And, you
Mm,
know, I have so many conversations with women and children. They're like, well, my parents didn't talk about this. My mom didn't talk about this. This wasn't a conversation in our household. And being able to create space for that to happen can be very healing and it can be life changing. So it's important.
very
Mm.
important. And to that point, do you think that what are some ideas that you might have about how we can tackle some of the taboos? Rather, how can we create spaces where we can tackle taboos?
Yeah, I think that definitely meeting people where they're at.
Hmm.
Meaning instead of trying to exceed a higher level of whatever you think is going to work for them, meet people where they're at first, have that conversation, and then there you can start and then in that rapport you are now building you're maintaining a relationship, right?
Hmm.
And so relationships are an investment. So now that you have been transparent, have the sense of vulnerability, have a sense of, okay, we can start here, you're able to maintain a healthy relationship throughout healthy communication
Right.
and really gauging what that person needs.
Hmm.
So,
And I'm thinking just based on this conversation that we've got to figure out more robust ways to build relationships with children.
yeah,
Mhm.
our children are our future. We have to
Yeah.
invest in them. We have to pour into them. Oh my gosh. Don't get me talking about kids. I'm so passionate about my youth that I mentor, and we have to. That's
Mhm.
all I'm all about it.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're here for. There's a lot of things going on with our children today, and I think that now more than any other time is the era where we need to be getting out in front of our children, and we need to be having key conversations. We need to be creating new spaces. It's time for us to be doing some new things out here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So back to your story though. What was middle school like for you?
Middle school was hard. I
Yeah.
went to a predominantly white school. I went to Parkville Middle. My hair was curly, as it is right now. This is my natural hair. I used to get picked on for the way that I looked, my hair, because my hair wasn't straight, or they would say your hair looks poofy, or you look like you got electrocuted. Why are your curls so big? Your hair is in the way. And just trying to fit in and like find yourself. I think that middle school is such a weird stage where you're trying to find yourself, and you start realizing, oh, these are cliques and these are the people that sit with each other at lunch, and they all wear the same shoes. So I would say it was